Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to be answering your questions, as many as we can here during this hour, whether you are an entrepreneur who is just getting started or have been doing this for a while, or even if you're not an entrepreneur and you just want to get some insight from somebody who's been in entrepreneurship or just want to hang out with your friends. If you're here live with your friends, say hello and thanks to everybody here for coming. And if you're here watching the replay, hashtag Team Replay. All we got to do is start the show. Let's do it.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream. All while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
All right. Welcome in to episode 350 of the income stream, which is pretty crazy. And this is a very simple day because all I have to do is answer your questions. But whatever you have questions about, I'm more than happy to answer. All you have to do is put in the word question in all caps inside of the chat, followed by your question. That way it'll be a little bit easier for me to see. And if you happen to be a member here, thank you again so much for the support. And you can have the little question emoji or emote in your chat too, so I can find it as well. So thank you. Thank you so much. Martin says, good morning, Pat. Your last live Sunday. Are we really at the last? No. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Martin, I can't do math right now. It's too early. It's too early on a Sunday for me to do that. But anyway, let's answer these questions. We got a question coming in from Rebecca. Hi, Pat. I'd love to develop a free email course as well as a paid course on the same topic. Thoughts on which to start first and how to differentiate the two? I would definitely start the free one first because that alone is going to help you validate whether or not it's even worth continuing to do the paid one. It's also going to be something that's going to allow you to build a list and a bunch of people who you've helped and served that you can then utilize as people who can become a part of your founders group for your paid course. They can help determine what this course is going to become, what they want more of, and they're just going to give you some incredible feedback. So that's how I would do it. I would do it in phases from, again, a validation point of view and to gather a group of people that you can use to build the right course instead of the course that you think that people need. You can build the course that people actually need from those who have gotten a good head start. You give them some quick wins, and then you want to help move them forward into the next step from there. I think that's a really, really smart approach. How to differentiate on the two. For a free email course, I would start with the one big thing that people need right at the beginning. It can, in fact, be something that's a part of the overall larger course, if you think about it that way. But in terms of, like, let's say I'm teaching people email, the first thing, or I'm teaching people how to build a website, right? And I want to teach the whole thing in a paid course. But initially, I might offer something for free, like how to find the perfect domain name. Like, that's literally the free course. And that's step one, because step one will want to lead people into step two. So that's how I would approach it. Janad says, how do you see the future of your second channel, Deep Pocket Monster? And do you think it will ever overtake this channel? Honestly, I do think it will overtake, although I'm going to be working hard on this channel after the live streams are over to grow it as well. So I'm hoping they're going to kind of like grow together. And they actually do support each other, even though they're in completely different spaces. I have a lot of people from the Pokemon space here, and I have a lot of people who are here who have kids and maybe they're interested in Pokemon themselves who check out the new channel too, which is pretty cool. So I do see some crossover, and yeah, potentially they can grow together and help each other out. But most of all, where I see that channel growing is to, 500,000 to 1 million subscribers at some point, where I can gather a large following and a lot of support so that we can support others. It's going to be a very charity-based giving channel eventually. It is kind of like that already, but I have some big goals for that channel in terms of, wanting to go to hospitals, to hang out with the kids and give them Pokemon cards to open, to go to more poor areas that don't get access to cards and hook them up with cards to make them feel a little bit better. All that kind of stuff, and the storytelling in and around that could be really neat, I think. So yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. I can see myself getting involved in the world of Pokemon a little bit more, from events to maybe even I'd love to come on as like an advisor to certain companies in that space too. That could be pretty cool. What's up, Squeaks? Good to see you here, my friend. Thank you so much. Big thanks to Squeaks Game World because he just posted on Instagram that he is somebody who picked up my book, Superfans. Let him know what he has to look forward to. If you enjoyed Superfans, let Squeaks know in the chat. Thank you for that question, Janad. Question from Diane. Is it okay to do Amazon affiliate links in Circle, for example, book links? It's totally cool to use Amazon affiliate links inside of programs, courses, memberships, etc. However, like anywhere, you have to be very upfront and disclose the affiliate relationship. If you don't do that, it's not going to work. You also have to let people know within those communities that this is a link that points people to Amazon. That's really important as well. What is a no-no is you cannot put an Amazon affiliate link in a email. That's not okay. And you're not allowed to put an Amazon affiliate link from the Amazon Associates program into an ebook either. And the reason for that is because email is more of a closed environment as well as an ebook. And Amazon, when you think about it, they thrive and they grow because of the data and the knowledge that they gather from where people are clicking and their behavior and whatnot. So you can definitely put it into Circle, which is a membership-based community platform that I'm an advisor for. However, I definitely think that with ebooks and email, it's a big struggle because it just makes sense. Like, oh, I'm letting my email list know about this book. I'd love to share this book. But the truth is there's a workaround. And the workaround is creating a landing page on your website that actually encloses that book and the link and the disclosure, etc. And the cool thing is now that can be a forever dynamically changing page that has a number of different resources and even more opportunities beyond just the one thing you're promoting to make additional income as well. Let's put on some music. I feel like we need to put on some music. Here we go. Hold up. Wow, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry, headphone users. Let me get this going the way it's supposed to. System preferences. Where's my system preferences? Oh, there it is. So we go output. Should be Roadcaster Pro. Okay, let's try it now. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. And that should be good volume. Let me know if it needs to be changed at all. What's up, Mai? Good to see you here. Fit over 50. We got Bill. Yes, this is indeed Harris Heller. I actually got confirmation that you can use Harris Heller's Streambeats audio in your YouTube videos without having to credit him at all. You can use it within your live streams without having to credit him. I want to give him as much credit as possible, but I did hear from his editor and himself that that's totally okay to do. And wow, what a service he's providing to everybody. Okay, going back up to some questions here. Question, what did you think of MrBeast's intro to the YouTube formula? Uncle Bill is impressed at the story. Yeah, dude, Uncle Bill, MrBeast is an absolute, genuine, authentic, super smart person. I met him in person a couple years ago at one of Daryl Eves' events in Los Angeles called Vid Summit. And for those of you who don't know, the YouTube Formula is a book written by Daryl Eves, who put on this event. He was kind enough to invite me and my partner Caleb on stage to tell the story about the Switch Pod. We were the closing keynote. There were so many giant YouTubers there, from Peter McKinnon to MrBeast watching, and it was really cool. It was very much an honor to tell that story. I think the reason he wanted us to tell that story was because the Switch Pod was birthed at Vid Summit, essentially, a couple years before that. Anyway, the intro is really great. The story of Jimmy's is amazing, and you look at his videos and you go back in time and you see that his first 100 videos were for like 50 subscribers of his. It's such a motivational story, because a lot of us, we create, maybe 50 videos and we have, a few hundred subscribers and we're like, oh, we're doing it wrong. Things aren't working the way they're supposed to. But I think that's because we compare ourselves to other people who are in different niches, who have different stories, have different experiences, and learn differently. And I think that's not a great, healthy way to go about it, because we might be doing perfectly fine and even doing better than others. Yet we don't see that because we're comparing our true life to somebody else's highlight reel, if that makes sense. And what I would compare is yourself to yourself yesterday, and your analytics today to your analytics yesterday. Very much in the Deep Pocket Monster channel, we are so involved every day looking at the analytics to see what is popping, how is it popping, changing thumbnails again and again and again, changing titles again and again and again, to a point where, for example, yesterday there was a giant Pokemon card opening from a guy named Logan Paul, and he opened a box that he got from a guy named TCA Gaming on YouTube, but they kept calling him Rusty. So we're actually changing the title of the video where I bought something from TCA Gaming to getting it bought from Rusty. That's how kind of, you never know. Sometimes there's little changes, and they have, in fact, completely created an inflection point for the story of the video and how many views it gets, which is pretty crazy. Janan says, have you learned anything from Deep Pocket Monster that you've applied to this channel? Yeah. so much. Some of the analytics stuff that we're talking about for sure. The inherent sort of mystery of a lot of the stuff in the Pokemon channel, which is like you open a pack, you try to figure out what's inside, you open up a mystery box, you try to see what's inside. People stick around literally until you reveal the final thing in the pack or in the box. I don't have a mystery box, but I should have something that's similar. There's creative ways, I'm sure, that I could create some mystery within what it is I'm doing. So for example, I might create a video that's like, I tried these 5 strategies to grow my podcast. Which one worked the best? And now you need to stick around to see what the sort of end result is, right? If that makes sense. And so those kinds of approaches to videos, I definitely want to focus on. And then also focusing on title and thumbnail first, and then the video to support that, because that's a clickable, worthwhile video to watch if it is indeed a title and thumbnail worth clicking on. And then building a video for that, versus the other way around. For years on the Smart Passive Income channel, I created a video on something I think that would be useful for people. And even though it's a topic that is useful for people, it's not necessarily a video that is super clickable, super sort of intriguing, because we're trying to fit a title and thumbnail to the video versus the other way around, right? Let's see, question from Peasant Uprising. How many hours a day did you put into building your Green Academy Start website, even pre-name change? So this was a website, it's still around, it's called greenexamacademy.com. The initial name of it was inthelead.com, L-E-E-D, which stands for Leadership in Environmental Design, Leadership and Energy in Environmental Design. And that is a website that I built dedicated to help people pass a very, very difficult exam in that space. I started that website a while back, early 2008, late 2007. And when I got laid off, that's when I really put full force into that. And literally, Peasant Uprising, I spent 12 to 16 hours a day on that. Not on the site though. Yes, I did build the website on my own, which took a lot of time. I did publish my own content on there, which took a lot of time, and it was very difficult for me to do, having no experience with blogging other than creating a Zanga blog to talk about what I had for breakfast this morning. And so that was taking up a lot of time. But after that website was done and I was publishing content, the thing that took up the most time was getting involved in forums, getting involved in spaces where those people existed, and just offering as much help as I can. Anybody who's seen how I've approached this Pokemon channel knows that I did the exact same thing. And I did the same thing back in 2008, where I got involved in forums and I just started answering people's questions. And although I didn't even know the answers for all of them all the time, I found the right answers and I stepped up and I spent hours a day on there, to a point where people were like, oh, you have a question? Just wait till Pat signs on later because he'll have an answer for you. And I became known in those little groups and forums, like architecture forums, but within the architecture forums, spaces for those people studying for that exam. And it worked out really great, because by the time I created something, people were like, oh snap, you have another reason, like, okay, let me go check it out. And what that did was it provided a lot of clout, not just for people out there in that forum, but also for Google. My website, eventually when it came out, started to get found in Google and in forums and other places, and it really, really helped launch this thing. So a lot of people go, oh, you just launched a website and you made, $7,908.55 your first month after you wrote an ebook and study guide and launched it. And I said, well, yeah, but I spent like 12 to 16 hours a day for months building relationships, getting involved, learning about it, building the website on my own, etc. Question from Burke. What's up, Burke? I answer all comments and messages from my audience, but while reading Superfans, I realized I need to and want to do more. Maybe Discord or live videos. Any suggestions? A live stream once a week could be a great way to give people access to you, Burke. The trouble with live streams is that you only get people who are available at that time. And I think that's great for superfans. There are going to be people who step up and kind of want to come out no matter what time it is. I do some lives sometimes where people are staying up till 4 in the morning to kind of want to join me. And I remember doing the same thing to people like Darren Rouse from ProBlogger.net back in the day when I was a big fan of his. I still am a big fan of his, but when I was getting started. Excuse me. So live videos are great. But one easy thing that you can do is that every once in a while, you could respond to people. You don't have to do this for everybody. It's not necessarily a hugely scalable thing, but you'll find that it's a very auspicious approach to what it is that you're going to do, because you'll get so much love back. And it's the idea of using direct messages to not just kind of reply to people individually, but to send a quick little video. What I do is every Friday, I go on a 30-minute walk around the block. What am I doing? I have my phone up like this. It probably looks weird around the block, but I'm responding to individual comments, 15-second videos, so I can get 4 per minute, and I can get through, 100 plus comments. and 100 people have now been touched by me in some way where I can share with them a video with my voice, just simply thanking them, asking for nothing in return, letting them know that they're being heard, letting them know that they belong, and letting them know that I'm here and that they're being listened to. And that's absolutely huge. This can help you get so much more fandom over time. Okay, let's keep going. Do you have advice for pitching your podcast to a website, magazine? Yeah, I think it's, again, never approach a business or magazine or website and say, hey, I'd love to be on your show, right? It always should come from a place of service. So if you can understand more about this website or magazine to see what it is that they might need help with, and maybe what's missing that you know is of value to them, then it would be so much easier for you to provide value if you know what that value is in their words and in their meaning. So what can happen is you can perhaps find a hole or something that you are an expert or superpower, have some superpower with, and you can approach them not with, I want to be on your show to present this stuff, but you can say, hey, I noticed that you haven't spoken about this yet, and I think your audience would absolutely love this. I'd love to help you with this and help your audience understand more about this topic, right? So always coming from a place of service. Number two, if you want to get on another podcast or website or magazine, if you start with a relationship, then that works very, very well. If you already have a relationship, obviously start there, but you can also get introduced by somebody else too, and that could work very, very well because a recommendation from a friend is going to be so much better than just a cold outreach. And those are a couple tips that I have for you to get started. Cool. Let's see. Question from Tonight. Have you made all your websites? No, I did in the very beginning for sure, probably the first 7 or 8, and I even have other websites that never saw the light of day because I was either too scared or too embarrassed, a lot of niche sites, a lot of things like that. But in the beginning days, it was definitely me for sure. Now, I don't even touch the website anymore because I have people do that so that I can focus more on building relationships, spending more time on things that only I can do, and whatnot. Your tips for someone who is starting a YouTube channel but overwhelmed by other YouTubers' video quality. Number one, don't worry about other videos' YouTube quality because the truth is the story and the content matters more than the video quality. You can always up your game later. And I think that in many cases, a lot of times video quality can make a person feel like that the video is going to be good, but then all of a sudden if the story's bad, then it doesn't really mean anything and it's almost like they're hiding. So I think that you can level up there into video quality later. And again, you need to compare yourself to yourself yesterday, to yourself last week, to yourself last month, and you can improve your quality. Don't worry about what other people are doing because that's their style. But what do people learn about you, Karthi? What is it about you that's unique? How can I go, oh, you got to check out Karthi Rants because that's the only YouTube channel that blank, right? What is that blank to you? What is that unique thing that you can offer and bring to the space that's so important? And if you don't know the answer to that, well, we need to find the answer. And that might mean going into that space, doing research, learning more about it so that you can understand what's in the crowd before you figure out how to stand out of it. You have to know what's in the crowd before you learn how to stand out of it, if that makes sense. Squeak says, people really underestimate how much off-screen time goes into the building of these successful channels. Absolutely. Having realistic expectations of time investment is huge to overall success. Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more, Squeaks. And you've been putting in the hours, you've been putting in the time, but it's working. And you can tell that it's working because when a person goes, Squeaks, are you okay? You haven't published for 3 days. What is going on? Anything I can do to help? That's how you know it's working well, because now you have people who expect that you have this stuff coming out. They're looking forward to it. That's a good sign. Doesn't mean you have to come out daily or do daily forever. I know you're trying to do that, but it just means the way that you're doing it is working right now. Uncle Bill says, wouldn't you say that structured lives are key to lives? Your lives are structured, so if a fan misses, they will come back and listen. Yeah, I mean, sometimes having things be unstructured can be really cool and interesting, but structure is helpful for production purposes. Structure is helpful for remembering. Structure is helpful for, like you said, having people come back and knowing what to expect, which is pretty cool. Queen Bee says 350. There we go. Thank you so much. 350. So exciting. Mai says, what are you planning to do to celebrate 365 days of the income stream? More on that later. I definitely have a plan to have some guests on the show, play a lot more games, just answer more questions, spin the wheel a lot, do some giveaways. We're going to have a good time for sure. Let's see. Question from Fit Over50. Do you find that skills learned as a YouTube creator often carries over into people's real jobs? Oh, absolutely. for example, if you want to be remembered for something in real life, then you have to really present yourself and talk about it and get to a point where you are great at sort of pitching yourself. And you have to do the same thing for a YouTube channel, because why would people want to subscribe to you and keep coming back if you weren't able to express what it is that you have uniquely to offer? And I think the same thing goes for a job. I think that, you know, this is why I'm so adamant about teaching entrepreneurship to kids. And I think that every school should have entrepreneurship as a subject in school: reading, science, math, entrepreneurship. And the reason is because whether you become an entrepreneur or not, I don't think everybody should be an entrepreneur, but you need to learn the skills of entrepreneurship, because those skills apply to everything. The ability to learn from mistakes and failures, the ability to problem solve, the ability to work with other people and collaborate, the ability to pitch your ideas in front of strangers and have them clearly understand what it's like, the ability to manage finances and whatnot. These are skills that everybody should have about every part of life and business and working. Whether you become an employee or have employees of your own, I think those skills are very important. I think that they should absolutely teach that stuff in school for sure. Bill says, cool avatar, did you make it? I'm pretty sure he did. His cat is in there. And he's got some really cool animation. I don't know who does that animation for you, Squeaks, but I love it. I love it. Maybe it was your twin, I'm not sure. Hello, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. Same, Ryan, same. I hope you're doing well. I'm not sure, but I remember and recall, I think it was you, Ryan. Some people were saying like, hey, I hope things get better earlier in the week, and something might have been going on. Whatever it is, Ryan, we're here for you. Thank you so much. And if you need anything, reach out to me, but I hope all is going well on your end. Are we actually caught up on questions? It's like the first time that's happened here. We don't have a ton of people in the room, which is okay. And again, Sunday, usually we get a lower amount of people watching, which is fine, but whatever it is, I'm here to just bedazzle you. Just like Post-it notes. Works in everyday life, for sure. I always have Post-it notes handy, as you can see. Question from Rebecca. I want to add a few text pop-ups to videos. Bam! Thank you for this question. As a super non-techie gal, what is an easy video editing software to use, sort of like Canva for video editing? Rebecca, are you on a Mac? If you are on a Mac, then I have the answer for you. ScreenFlow. ScreenFlow. ScreenFlow is an amazing tool that it's actually built for you to record what's on your screen as a computer, and then be able to edit that and do things with that. But I find it's actually the easiest to use editor that has some of those kinds of features like you said. And what's really cool is you just hit the text button and then you add that to the timeline on a layer on top. It's very intuitive. There's a lot of documentation to show you how to do this. And I even have some videos from early back in the day, how to add pop-up text to your videos, right? And whether it's like just a lower third that kind of comes in, and then, you know, or animations that you want to add to, you can do that. But I want to look on YouTube now because it's reminding me of an old video. You're going to see young Pat Flynn here. And this was probably when I only had one kid. So how to add pop-up text to your videos. And this, I believe, will show you. Yo, look at this. Okay, let me pause Spotify for a sec so we can watch this. Look at this. Yeah, so this will actually show it to you, Rebecca. So this has 158,000 views from 8 years ago, which is crazy. Look at that. Oh, there's my son up there. This was before I wrote Will It Fly, in fact. Okay, how to add pop-up text to your video. Let's see if we can have a listen. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Pat Flynn from smartpassiveincome.com. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to add pop-up text to your videos just like this. What the heck? What? Dude, I look so different. There's a Guy Kawasaki book in the back that he signed. Okay, let's play that again. Okay, so anyway, if I was to critique myself, I think it's fine. There's a reason why this video did very well. I get straight to the point, right? And I show an example of this. But anyway, I'll show you, Rebecca. We'll go into the tool to show you what it's like. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Pat Flynn from smartpassiveincome.com. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to add pop-up text to your videos just like this. Pop-up text in video is a great way to hold your audience's attention and really emphasize those important moments of your recording. Okay, so I'm just going to get to the software to show you. So here's what I was talking about. Here's the movie. Here's the audio. This is ScreenFlow, and then you can just add text to pop up at certain times like that. Baby Pat. So yeah, that's how it works, Rebecca. So I hope that's helpful. how to add pop-up text to your videos, and that's ScreenFlow. Now there's a tool on PC that will work the exact same way. It's called Camtasia Studios, and it works literally in the exact same way. Cool. I see a super chat coming in here from Burke. Yo, Burke, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. First of all, thank you for answering yesterday's review question. Are you also missing Iron Man? Yes. Although we do watch Marvel movies quite a bit, so I get my fill of Iron Man every once in a while. Anyway, Iron Man 1 is one of my favorite movies for sure. Thank you for that, by the way. Let's see, Asma. Let's go back to, let's unpause the music. Asma says, I'm gonna make keyword and SEO. How do you do it, or how do you learn to do it? There's a very great website out there called Backlinko, BACKLINKO, by one of my friends, Brian Dean. He's like the king of SEO and keeping it up to date for everybody. So I'd definitely check out that YouTube channel and website. Brian Dean is amazing. He'll teach you all the ropes on how to do it, because there's a lot of things to learn. The thing I will say as you approach search engine optimization is just try to keep it simple. If this were easy, what would it look like? There's some foundational things that you can use, and you can experiment and go along the way too. Not a bad idea, Martin. I like that. Thank you so much. That's a great idea. Bill says, can you do a vid? Maybe I used your pre-live a while back for you. Hope you don't mind. Can you do maybe a vid? Look, I used your... I'm not sure what that means, Bill. I'm sorry. What's a quality setup to record a podcast on a cell phone? Any good mics? Yeah, if you go to if you go to kit.co/PatFlynn, I'll take you there right now. Actually, kit.co/PatFlynn. You'll actually see what I use for on the go. kit.co/PatFlynn. These are affiliate links, by the way, but here is my beginner sound podcasting kit, and here's a light travel podcast kit. And this uses the Rode Smart Lab. This will work for both iPhone and Android, and that'll work there too. So this is an extension on the right-hand side. This is the mic itself here in the middle, and this is a dongle for Lightning if you need sort of to put more than one in there. So yeah, hopefully that helps. What sites do you recommend for hosting online courses? I want to use Kajabi, but then I looked into the pricing. I'm a big fan. This is a biased opinion because I'm an advisor for this company, so just keep that in mind. But Teachable, smartpassiveincome.com/Teachable would be the place to go, because they make it literally super easy, drag and drop, easy to create an online course. All my online courses on there. We've earned over $4 million on that platform, so it works. And it's definitely something I recommend checking out. Again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/Teachable. That is a affiliate link, just so you know. Keisha, what's up, Keisha? I did my first challenge, learned a lot. What suggestions do you have for making a challenge evergreen? Well done, Keisha. First of all, challenges are really amazing because they really get people to move. People want to do something, but they don't have a container or space within time to do that, but you're giving that to them, and then they can do it within and amongst each other too. For me, I have an evergreen challenge that was actually once a live challenge called 100 Emails Challenge, and you can find it at 100emails.com. You can actually check out the landing page if you'd like, and if I go there now, let me see what happens. 100emails.com. That domain name was grabbed afterwards because I wanted to make it evergreen, and so it's much easier to say that versus pages.smartpassiveincome.com/0-2-1- etc. So this is it. You create a landing page for it, and when a person clicks this, they put their name and email, and then it starts. It's all automated. It's all delivered through email, which is really key. The only thing that's missing and that's different between this and the way that we do it live is that there's no Facebook group to go along with it. We don't want to manage something like that where people are coming in at different times and different moments. So what happens is people subscribe, they get an email to take day 1, they get another email tomorrow for day 2, they get another email for day 3 on day 3, and then they should hopefully have 100 emails by the end of those 72 hours, and many people do. The cool thing is now you add a step 4. Now that you have 100 emails, what do you do next? You can go get ConvertKit, another company I advise, which you can use to set up your email system, or you can take my email course if you want to. So that's how a challenge can actually lead into something like that in a really nice, coordinated way. Look at that Express polo, Pat, says B-Roy. Yeah, that was totally Express. That was my place. Joy Geek says, how do you manage creating content with kids around? Sound, video, focus, maintain. Any pointers for creators? Please, Pat. Yes. I don't ever try to force a video into a time when I know my kids are probably going to want to hang out. So I always do my videos either when they're in school or at night. Rarely do I do it early in the morning. I just don't have the creative energy in the early mornings like I do at the night. but after they're asleep, sometimes that's when I'll kind of go hard for an hour or two to just create some stuff. I don't normally want to do that. I try to get and fit everything in during the day. Another thing that helps is when I do have that block of time, I don't want to just film one video. I want to film as many videos as I can so I can batch process and maybe get through 1.5 to 4 videos, depending on the subject matter. Also, if you happen to have a partner or somebody who can help you, if you can help them understand how important it is for you to get this stuff done, and how that if it is quiet and if they maybe were to take the kids out to a park or something, you can get some stuff done, and sort of ask that as a favor and then perhaps give something back in return. That often works really, really well too. Samson says, with more than half my live events coming back for this year, I was wondering what the plan is for FlynnCon. Hope you are well. Thank you. FlynnCon, we are still in conversation with the hotel and with our event planner to see what is possible, and that's why it's been taking so long to make an announcement, because everything still seems to be up in the air. Unfortunately, with July coming, I mean, it's already March basically, so March, April, May, June, that's like 4 months. That's not enough time to plan, unfortunately, and so we were considering, what if this is a virtual event or something? What do we do for 2022? Maybe we can delay it another year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, and it doesn't feel good because I know that it's still up in the air. But also, I miss you guys. I miss seeing people in person, but I don't want to put anybody in jeopardy. I don't want to have people feel uncomfortable. There's also not just the attendees, but the hotel. There's the coordination with sponsors and flights, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Question from Kathy, are you giving Sean over at Think Media beard tips? Oh, is he growing a beard? No, I'm not giving him tips unless his beard is bad, and then maybe you're saying that because you think I gave him those tips and they're bad because I'm not knowing what I'm doing exactly with my beard. I'm just kind of letting it grow and trimming it every day. Alternative for ScreenFlow for Windows. I had said Camtasia Studios, but it works literally in the same kind of way. Diane says, starting a community on Circle, but when the first people become members, there won't be much there. Should I start with content? I asked friends to start posting, not sure what else. So yeah, when you start, I think that starting with a small group of people with the understanding that it is brand new, teaching them as soon as they sign in to what to post and where, so that it just becomes a little bit more populated. When you set that expectation up front for those first beta founding members, maybe it's not even your official founding members, but people that you just invite in early to help make the space seem a little bit more populated, that can work really, really well and make them feel part of the process, make them feel special too. I don't necessarily think starting with content is good because it can be overwhelming, right? I think that if you had a specific day of the week that you had people come in, so they're all coming at the same time, if you had a specific prompt for them to like maybe 2 or 3 things to do on that day, that'll help encourage population within those spaces that you want within those times for people who come in later. Question from FitOver50, is a nice flow to go right into content and mention my name only at the end with a signature sign off? I think that starting with not necessarily the content, but remember the hook, right? We need to give people a reason to stick around and watch this video. Then you can pop in your name and who you are, because people would probably want to know. You could save it to the end if you wanted to, but I think, you know, I think it's important, especially perhaps for you and your channel and your people who are maybe a little bit less tech savvy. If you can help them understand who's behind this piece of content earlier, it might work, but not earlier as in beginning. You need to hook people in for why they clicked on this video. They're not clicking to see you, but they click to see the thing that they want or the thing that intrigued them. And then what happens is people will then go, okay, well, who is this? And then you can tell them and you can go right into it, right? So remember the tiptoe strategy, right? Connecting it to the title, having some sort of, in this video, what we're gonna learn. And then proof that, you know, this thing works, proof that it is something worthwhile to watch and that it's actually true. And then talking about the teasing what's coming next, and then talking about objections, and then you can get into your intro after that. Cool. All right. How to get people to visit my website? I share it on social, Insta, and Twitter, but my following is few. Well, it's gonna take some time, number one. You're ever gonna hardly get a land rush of people coming from social in the places where people already know you exist. That's sort of the myth of social media. A lot of people go, oh, social media is gonna grow my stuff, but guess who already is following you on social media and is getting those messages? The people who are already following you. So, excuse me, how might we get in front of newer bigger audiences. Now, publishing content on a regular basis is going to help. It's going to help Google understand what your website is about. It's going to help YouTube, for example, understand what your videos are about, to a point where they can now, based on their algorithms and based on who it is they know watch what kind of videos, they will send out impressions for you to those kinds of people to see how they work. Now, obviously on a blog, it's really important we have titles that matter. And yes, SEO, like we talked about with Brian Dean from Backlinko. On YouTube, it's the video thumbnail, the video title that's going to do the job for you, as well as the hook in the beginning. And then from there, it might be getting on other platforms, becoming a guest on other people's shows. Getting recommended by somebody else is going to mean so much more than you just getting a couple clicks from social media. Question from Free Spirit: is it possible to house your videos on your own website, non-downloadable, so they can't be pirated, or is that an impossibility? It's difficult, because if a person really wants your videos, they're gonna get it. You can host on your own website, but I actually would recommend against that highly. And the reason for that is because, let's say you get a land rush of people watching your videos, now you're eating up bandwidth on your own website. This is why there's web hosting. This is why outside of web hosting, there's video hosting and podcast hosting, because you can take advantage of platforms that are built to smoothly create an experience on your website versus you eating up the bandwidth. And if 4 or 5 people are watching that video at the same time, it's going to slow down other people's experience on that website too. So I wouldn't even necessarily worry about that. There are places, other video hosts that you can host that may make it a little bit more difficult for people to pirate your videos. However, anybody can use a screen recording software, right? So in a sense, it's going to be almost impossible. But using something like Wistia or Vimeo, and you can, yes, password protect these things and whatnot, that can help too. But honestly, you know, with my YouTube videos and such, yeah, it's difficult. But with the videos that I have on courses, it's getting pirated. It's getting pirated. And you know what? Those people who purchase those things or find those things aren't people who would have been in my target audience anyway. And it would take even more hours to crush them, which I've done before, hiring lawyers and attorneys to take those websites down that sell those courses at a much smaller price, to then, guess what? They pop back up again later. And that's not cool. It's just kind of the nature of that. So mostly impossible. Janad says, how do you know if you're having burnout? We talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago, and there's a number of signs, right? The idea that you are just feeling a lot of anxiety and feeling a little bit overwhelmed, right? The relationships that you have maybe are falling through the cracks. You know, literally, mentally and physically, just not healthy. And you know, those are some signs. I think that burnout is definitely a real thing. I've seen a lot of my friends end up in the hospital because of it, because of overwork. And I think that we can do a lot of things to prevent ourselves from getting and falling into those traps. And it's hard because as an entrepreneur, we can continue to work over and over and over again. There's no clock out moment, right? And so you have to have a clock out moment, and creating time boundaries and even spatial boundaries for you so that you can have a container of space to work, both in time and space, and then a container of space to not work, both in time and space, to sort of alleviate yourself from that, is probably the healthiest thing to do. That can be the easiest way to start to sort of reduce their burnout. I think the hard thing is, much like a painter painting on a canvas, like, how do you know when the last brushstroke is brushed? You have to really have that time limit in order for you to sort of walk away, take a break, come back into it even stronger. And if you need some like a sabbatical or a couple days off, like, take that. Your mental health is more important than anything. Zoo Statistics. Can someone start a podcast at the age of 13? Yes. I know somebody, she was 8 years old when she started. My son and I started a podcast when he was 8 years old as well. There's nothing holding you back. There's nothing holding you back. If so, could he start with science? Absolutely. I think that's a great thing. Now, a parent might have to help set that up for them, especially when it comes to some of the publishing on different platforms and whatnot. But I think that it would be an amazing thing. I would much rather have a kid start a podcast than a YouTube channel, for example. And here's the reason why. There's less toxicity. There are a lot of not so great people on YouTube who, because they're hiding behind an avatar, might say things and might help, you know, first of all, you have to be 13 to start a YouTube channel. I think that's the age if he wanted or she wanted to do this on their own. But yeah, podcasting would be great. Oh, Sean's beard's coming in full. Nice. Kwok says, you were on an IG Reels roll, but haven't seen new ones lately. Was it just a business experiment? Any Reels, old news, YouTube Shorts? What's next? Great catch, Kathy. Yeah, I haven't published an IG Reel in a very long time. I was doing it for a 30-day experiment, and I wanted to see if I could sort of manage that algorithm, and I was able to figure it out a little bit. and I created some videos that even saw nearly 500,000 views. But guess what? It literally did nothing for me. And so I wanted to experiment to see what it would do. And maybe that's just my approach to it, but I did get some views, but it wasn't necessarily driving anything in terms of business or even new followers. It was just kind of more entertainment. And it was a lot of fun. I had a good time doing that too. But I'd much rather spend that time creating and editing videos to the videos here on YouTube that will help me get a bigger reach, that will help give me more data, that will help me perhaps get more business down the road too. Shorts are something that I'm experimenting with on the other channel, but still I haven't really seen anything huge happen from that yet. I just don't like the way that the shorts end up on the regular feed, and I'm still waiting to the day when YouTube shorts become actually like TikTok, where through my app I can create something and upload it through the app and it ends up in its own little environment within shorts versus like on YouTube's regular feed and things like that. Atlas says, yo, what's Circle? Circle.so is a membership platform that you can use to sort of essentially build your own Facebook community, but not on Facebook. It's not like Facebook at all. In fact, I mean, it has similar notes to it, all the best things there, all the best things in Slack put into this community, but you can either charge people to be a part of this community or bring people in for free, and it becomes your own little social network that you get to create and you get to host and manage and control yourself. We have over 500 or 600 now paying members for SPI Pro, which is our business premium membership, and that's provided an additional $350,000 a year into the business on recurring, which is pretty amazing. And we hired somebody to manage that community there, and it's been really, really off the hook. I absolutely love everything that's happening and going down in there. Question from Burke. On many of my YouTube videos, I mentioned that I have online courses. Do you think it's too much for my regular audience to hear it all the time? The thing is, your regular audience is going to continue to follow you anyway, and it's okay that they hear it. I think the more touch points, the better. Obviously, there's a line there, but people who are coming to you and probably watching most of your videos aren't people who are subscribed and are people who are likely going to be wanting to know more about that over time. Now, I will say that you did, in the videos that we watched yesterday for you, Burke, did mention it quite a bit, even up front. It was almost asking like to marry me before we even went on a few first dates. That's something that I think can definitely lend itself to the end of the video, and it doesn't necessarily mean you can't mention it. I think it was very applicable for the video that we watched yesterday, where you talked about how here was like a design and some of the things that I talk about in my course, I'm just sharing it to you for free. I think that's cool, but there's a balance there for sure, because I think that you could potentially benefit by bringing people into some sort of email list, then having the ability to have a more deeper, direct connection and communication with them about that too. Celine says, when you are funded by platforms like Patreon, so you process that income tax-wise, do you process it as one source, or do you have to factor where your patrons come from? Typically, again, I'm not a tax professional. This is just my own thoughts about this, so please do your research and due diligence for yourself. Now that that's out of the way, I believe that it's just coming from Patreon, because those people pay Patreon, and then Patreon pays you. Right? That money's not coming from those people in those different countries to you, thus you can sort of manage that a little bit easier. That's what I would imagine. I also would imagine that Patreon would have a lot of documentation about that as well, so you can get a clear answer from that too. But you're probably going to get a K1 or something like that, or no, not a K1, a 1099 from them, from that, from Patreon, I would imagine. Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a question from an accountant for sure. Right. Question from Angelina. What's up, Angelina? What would be the best way to do market research? Sending survey forms or random Googling and come to conclusions? All of the above. The more information, the better, right? Now, if you've gotten my book, Will It Fly, you'll know that there's a exercise called the market map exercise that'll help you do research, and that involves, yes, random Googling, but it's not random. You want purposeful Googling, right? Google to help you provide those answers. But I think surveys aren't my favorite thing, because they feel a little bit too, I don't know, robotic in a way in terms of how you ask these questions. And I think that more than that, and probably the best sort of research, is conversations, literally real conversations, so that you can find out what the best way that you might be able to help these people in terms of what the number one solution, number one challenge, number one problems these people are going through. And that alone will give you not just answers, but they'll tell you the language that they're using to describe those problems, which oftentimes on a survey you don't get, because it's a rate on a scale from 0 to 10, or it's a answer that's pre-edited, and it's not necessarily how somebody speaks about these problems. It's more formalized. So conversations 100% is what I would do. And then going into forums and groups where conversations are happening as well that maybe you didn't even initiate, you can go in there and start, like, for example, I love going to Facebook groups related to spaces that I'm going into, or forums, or even on Reddit, and asking, doing a search for need help with, or solve this problem, or I need a, or please help. That will then help filter all the posts within that subreddit or within that community or forum or thread where people are asking for help. So I can actually see where people are asking for help without even actually having to be a part of those conversations, because all that stuff is online. Question, how are you able to keep up with reading the many questions that come up with other random comments in between? Question, please, is it because your team is saving it for you? How can you highlight it then? Great question, Joy. So this is the reason why I have people type in the word question first and then the question. I'm not even reading everything else in between because most of that's conversation between y'alls and each other, but I am looking for that word question, and that's helping me filter through this much, much easier. Question from Corey. Hey brother, I'm starting a new podcast in the mental health space. Any advice for creating or for getting on experts in various aspects of the field as a new show? So getting experts on to come to your show, right? So number one, start with anybody who you already have access to. Again, that's always gonna be the first easiest thing if you already have a relationship with them. Number two, if you know somebody who has a relationship with these experts, start there too, because that is a recommendation from a friend and an introduction, which often can help cut through the noise, filter out the people that those people should be paying attention to, thus now following and finding you at least. Thirdly, find those experts who are coming out with books soon or courses. Those people are often in the mode in their life right now to say yes to more than no, because they're coming out with a book and they want to have sort of more of a platform and be shared more. And even if you're a brand new podcaster, it doesn't mean people are going to say no. And again, finding those people who are likely going to be saying yes more at that time is very smart. And so again, authors, people who are coming out with books, you can actually go into Amazon, change the date range of your search to find books that are coming out or coming up, so that you can even see the ones who've put their books on already for pre-order or who are coming out later. Reach out to them now and go, hey, I see that you have a book coming out in May. I would love to support you. I'd love to have you on the show to talk about. You don't have to say like, I don't have any listeners. You can just talk about who your ideal listener is and offer support in that way. Now, if they ask, I would definitely be honest, but you can also talk about all the plans you're gonna do to help grow this thing so that people who come on the show now are gonna get found even more later. So hopefully that helps. Question from Chad, can you take a break from their podcast without losing your audience or most of it? You will lose a little bit of people, but if you have a little bit of a break, that's okay. I would try to recommend not doing that if you've already gone a little bit through a consistent nature, because people are gonna be expecting that. And that's really important. So what I would do is, instead of taking a break from publishing, I would take a break from recording. What that means, Janad, maybe is you have 3 to 5 episodes recorded, ready to go, even scheduled, because you batch process that, so that then you can just take some time off. Now, that being said, there are podcasts that have seasons, and seasons are kind of an excuse for you to take a break in between each season. However, you will lose some subscribers in between, but that's okay, because they might come back. And at least there's an expectation of, at least it's not like, hey, what happened? What's going on? It's like, okay, there was an end, and I can get ready for the next season. Question from FitOver50, identify the most viewed videos in your niche and copy the theme with your own approach to thumbnails, title, and content. That is a thing you can do. You can go and find the most trending videos. There's some tools like vidIQ that can actually show you trending videos within a space, and also Google Trends can show you a number of data about certain items. So you don't just want to take the most popular video, because maybe those views came from way back when, and it's a video that's not really popular right now. You want to know sort of what is in fact trending now, and getting in front of it if you can. But yes, taking some knowledge from a video and a channel that's already proven that something is working. And that's kind of cool, because if you do it right, you can also get recommended as the next suggested video after a person watches that one, or within the sidebar of that video too. So I wouldn't say copy the video, I wouldn't say copy the thumbnail, I wouldn't say copy the title, but use the same kind of keywords, use the same sort of structure in terms of the content and what it is that you want to share. Put your own spin on it, of course, and then try to make a better title, try to make a better thumbnail. Squeak says, man, I need to make it here for one of your channel audit days and try to get you back to reviewing my channel. Yeah, I can put you on the list, Squeaks, for next week. We already have 3 people on that list, and I can add you on. if you want to come in next Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific, I can put you in. We got My, Big Nell, Gain, Not, Karen Monet, and Squeak's Game World. I'd be more than happy to review your channel and see what I can do to help you. I think that'd be fun. Honestly, I'd love to do that for you anyway, because you've done so much for me already. So even if I don't get it in on the show, again, if you're not able to make it next week, we can make it happen. Jeff the Ref in the house. What's up, Jeff? What's up, Jeff? Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for what you do. Let's see, a lot of great conversation happening. You just answered my question, LOL, which I was asking for. Cool. Look at that, we made it to the end. Luis, hello, Pat. How did you learn all the different skills needed along your entrepreneurial journey? I mean, things like WordPress, SEO, podcasting, video, blogging. I like to call it just-in-time learning. Now, I've been doing this for 13 years, so I don't want you to think that I knew all these things right up front. In fact, I'm still learning a lot about these things. And of course, because we're in an environment online where things are changing all the time, there's really never any end to it. But that's also a problem because you can continually learn so much that you get nothing done. So I like to do something called just-in-time learning. This is what is called learning, only allowing yourself to learn about the things that are relevant to the next thing that you're doing. And when you look at my history and when certain things happen, you can tell how I was able to do this, because consider how I'm learning if this is the case. 2008, I started my blog. 2009, I started my YouTube channel. 2010, I started my podcast. 2011, I started speaking on stage. 2013, I started writing books. 2017, I published my first online course. So during that timeline, obviously over time, I've accumulated a lot of knowledge, but I didn't know any of this stuff up front. When I was into blogging, that's all I focused on. I wanted to master it and then move on and get to a point where I could automate it as much as possible and learn only what I needed to learn to let it to grow where I wanted it to grow. Obviously, there's an endless amount of learning, but even to a micro level, okay, this week I'm working on search engine optimization. So nothing else matters right now. I'm gonna go find the information. I'm gonna go find the people. I'm gonna find the resources that will help me for SEO this week and this week alone. So that helps encourage me to learn all I can, again, just in time. This allows me to remove all the other things that I don't need to know right now, because that can just cloud and completely get in the way of everything that's most important right now. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Pat, what if there's an article out there that's perfect for you? Maybe not for today, but for later. What do? You save it for later. That helps reduce the FOMO, because we often consume so much because we're afraid of missing out on that next article, that next blog post, that next video. And the trouble is, when you're consuming all that, you're getting nothing done. So put that aside, bookmark it, put it in an Evernote folder, pop it into something that helps you come back to it later. And the truth is, you're probably not gonna ever need to come back later, but that helps you in your brain understand that it could be there for you if you wanted it. Yo, @Reef, thank you so much for the super sticker. Shiba Dog, writing with a brush, writing #1 on a piece of paper. I love that the stickers just have these descriptions. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Let's see. Hey, Brandon's in the house. What's up, Brandon? Thank you so much for being here, my friend. Brandon's been so supportive. In fact, he was one of the first, if not the first, super chat ever on Deep Pocket Monster. I'm gonna always remember that, Brandon. Thank you for that. Asma says, is ClickFunnels about promoting digital products? I wanna know about digital product to use on a website, but don't know how to start. Asma, you're asking a lot of amazing questions. I will say, you might be getting a little bit ahead of yourself. You're already thinking about step 10 before you get to step 1. You talked about building a website, search engine optimization, getting an audience. Let's focus on that first. Now, I'm gonna answer your question because a lot of other people might need the answer to this question right now, but I just want you to focus on that next thing. Just like I said, just-in-time learning, so that we're not learning all the things and then having to do it. That's a waste of time. That's content bloat, as I like to call it. And that's actually what my next book's gonna be about. I'm actually in the middle of preparing the outline for that and the proposal to see, we actually are gonna be putting it out to publishers just to get a feel. My inclination, my heart tells me I should be self-publishing this, but I wanna see what's out there. I wanna see what I might get as an advance. I know some people with a smaller audience who has written books that have gotten over $500,000 in advance, which would be that would be nice. I mean, I gotta say, although I know that with my self-published book, Will It Fly, for example, that's already surpassed that amount, and that was 5 years ago. So I don't know, we'll see. I'll probably talk more about that more openly. But ClickFunnels is a tool from a guy named Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels. He lives in Idaho, and his company's there, ClickFunnels. They're an amazing group of people, but they're very internet markety, right? They're very internet markety, I know they would be okay with me saying that. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just they are developing a lot of tools to allow people to do internet marketing to a point where, yeah, a lot of people may be abusing these tools in a way that doesn't feel good to the end user, where there's upsell after upsell after upsell. But it is a tool that you could use to take people from your website, to take them through a funnel, click funnel, to then drive them into a sale of some kind. And it could be a digital product, physical product, whatever. Question from Corey. Thanks, ran a podcast for a year, ran out of steam, felt like every interview was a copy of the last. Advice on approach new project with new angles, topics, so it doesn't become an echo chamber. I think number one, thinking about what's relevant to your audience right now, that's always changing. Number two, and then reverse engineering from that, who might be a guest on the show that I might be able to bring on to support this new thing or this new angle. You're totally cool. And in fact, I recommend talking about topics that you've talked about before with different people in different ways. Then you can compare and contrast. You can have different angles and approaches to things, which is pretty cool. I think also you being conscious of that is step number one. Knowing that, okay, everything felt the same. Taking each opportunity with every new episode and going, how can I get 1% better? Just even 1% better every single time, you start to notice this exponential graph that kind of hockey stick curves up eventually. And that is something that I think is great, Corey. So I can't give you the answer, oh, you should create episodes like this or you should create episodes like that. But the fact that you're conscious about this and you want to get better, try to get a little bit better each time. How might you in the next one go even deeper into the story? Ask a few more whys behind their answers. In the next one, try to pull out some emotion in the story from somebody who you know has an emotional story so that people on the other end can get a little choked up from it. Like, that's kind of approach I'm taking. Question from Burke. I can't finish my videos on time for best publishing day of the week. Should I wait till next week to publish, or it doesn't really matter which day it is? It does matter. It actually does matter. Now, I'm not saying if you miss Tuesday, you have to wait till next Tuesday. I would go to the next best one because you want to keep up with your content calendar. But number one, try to get ahead so that you can publish at the right time, because there are certain days of the week that work better. But don't do what I once did, which is you finish a video editing late at night and you're like, oh my gosh, finally I got this video out. Let's just publish it now and get it out of the way. Do not do that. You got to publish at the optimal time, more than the optimal day, in my opinion, but both in terms of when you should do it is better than just one. So optimal day, optimal time, you'll notice this in your stats. YouTube will tell you when most people are on who are being fed your videos, and you try to take advantage of that. We've seen that work really, really well on Deep Pocket Monster, trying to get in at the 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. or noon Pacific time, because that is when most of our people are on. Question from Fit Over 50. I'm going to take just a few more questions here. Did you find that those who go deep into a sub-niche and commit long-term eventually rule that sub-niche partly from the competition, eventually not making the same long-term commitment? Yeah, that is absolutely true, because a lot of those people who are more general are not going to want to quote-unquote pigeonhole themselves. They have first mover advantage, but they're not going to want to go deeper and kind of close off the rest of what they've already started. This is why when you start later and start a little bit more niche, you're able to go in and actually have riches in the niches. You can go and you can compete. You can actually take a little bit of market share from them, or then even complement them. I've seen many, many times when you master a sub niche and you become known for that, you actually will get invited on other people's shows who are more general, because they don't have the same kind of time and or knowledge that you do, having this sort of subspace expertise. Yo, happy birthday to Grandma Goody. Yay, happy birthday to Grandma Goody. Congratulations, Grandma. I'm not going to sing, but I do want to wish you and Grandma Goody and you, Connie, a very, very happy birthday. I'm so thankful for you. You have been a delight to see in the chat every single day here, and have meant so much to me, from your guest spot on episode 200, which is a memorable moment for me for sure, to the kind gifts that you send me and my family. I appreciate you so, so much. Cyanten says, hey Pat, could you give us some tips for news websites? News websites are difficult. It's difficult because you can't necessarily get ahead on the content, but what needs to happen is you need to try to become as much as possible either first mover on something, or take a specific kind of approach to these news articles that are a little bit different. You do have the advantage of having a never-ending amount of things that you could talk about, and the possibility of what's called news jacking. If there's something big that's happening out there in the world of the news that you're talking about, and again, I would niche down in the news, right? Niche the news. Riches are in the niches. I wouldn't have just like general world news. I would have news about, for example, MKBHD being the guy who's providing, really good reviews about things, but also is also a first mover in terms of news of what it's like to use these new products from Apple and Samsung and and whatever. So first mover advantage, try to get that. Number 2, having a very, very specific niche that people will come to know you and your news for. And number 3, newsjacking. If there's anything big that's coming out, maybe you might want to go even deeper into that to create different analysis and stuff to get ahead on those things. Again, you do have the advantage of never-ending amounts of content, but that can also be a disadvantage as well. Corey says, question, have you ever been able to leverage Clubhouse for your podcast production? If so, how? Yeah, I mean, for sure, in terms of finding guests and building relationships, that's number 1 for sure. Number 2, I haven't been able to, I know I could do this, but I just haven't done this, recording those Clubhouse conversations to then drop into a podcast. I've been as a guest on other people's Clubhouses to have those things recorded and then be a guest on their show, and that's cool too. But that is possible, that's definitely possible. I'm not gonna get into the technicalities of how to do that, but the thing that you need to know is if you're gonna record anything on Clubhouse, you gotta let everybody know on the stage who's there. You gotta get their permission to record it, because right now there's no native recording thing in Clubhouse, and I don't think they're gonna ever offer that. But you can record it on your end if and only if you get permission from the other people who are there on the stage with you. Did I watch Logan Paul's live? I did. 2 Charizards, unreal. A little bit less hypey as last time though. I felt it was a little bit more cooled down for some reason. And there we go, we are at the end. And I want to say, hey, thank you so much for today. We burned through, I don't know how many questions, but I feel like it could have been a record, but we got through a lot. Amazing questions from everybody that helped everybody else too. Happy birthday to Grandma Goody as well, and happy belated birthday to Queen Bee. Thank you, Stephanie. And a big thank you to all of the, GCO says, what's the influencer? NKOTB? No, that's New Kids on the Block. We don't want New Kids on the Block. MKBHD. Marcus Brownlee in HD, MKBHD. Marcus Kevin Brownlee, HD, MKBHD. There we go. So anyway, thank you so much for today. I appreciate you. Happy birthday to everybody. Big shout out and thank you to all the moderators who are here in the blue names. We got Stephanie, we got Grandma Goody, we got Peasant Uprising, K-Walk Comedy, Fit Over 50, or excuse me, not Fit Over 50, although I love that you're here too. I meant to say Karma Cashflow, and then Just Samson as well. So thank you again so much for holding down the chat. Thank you everybody for being here today. Bill says 4,892 questions. I was close. I thought it was like 4,897, but okay, I'll take that. Cool. Hype, however, was definitely saturated. I think people are just getting fatigued on hearing about First Base 2. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with it. It was kind of an unreal box though. 3 Chanseys, 2 Charizards, 2 Raichus, no Hitmonlees, no Poliwhirls, none of the sort of like lower end. Yeah, it's really interesting. Anyway, have a great day. Thank you so much. Enjoy your time relaxing here on a Sunday. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow here on the channel where we're gonna dive into a specific topic. Let me get that topic for you in just a minute. Let me turn the music down. Tomorrow we are going to go live at 11 a.m. Pacific. Again, that's 11 a.m. Pacific. 2 o'clock? Yeah, 2 o'clock Eastern. So 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern. We are going to go deep into a specific topic to help you out in some way, shape, or form in your online business. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You're amazing. Can't wait to see you again. Day 350 was a success. Cheers, and as always, Team Flynn for the win.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream. All while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
We got Jarvis here. Say hi, Jarvis. Yay. Hi, everybody. Man, your hair is getting so long. Gotta give you a haircut. He's getting so big. Look at him. He was just a puppy like 4 or 5 months ago. You crazy. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Bruh.
Oh, nice yawn. Big yawn. Big yawn. Bye, everybody.